Well, guys, how's it going? So here will be hopefully a quickie, but it won't be, I'm sure. But so we've had 3 days of fucking rain. Today's finally the first day of no rain, and it's Sunday. So this will be our first day now with no rain. Because we've had 3 days of fucking rain. Can't fucking get it, you can't drive around because it's still muddy. Sun pokes in and out, but it's not enough. Sun's supposed to, I don't know. It says by this evening the sun could come out, but again, that's in the evening, so nothing's gonna dry out. And there's not really much of a wind either. So, but yeah, I think we're up to inch and a half, just slightly under inch and a half, but it's really just getting to be insane. But I was kind of in a hurry, had to pick up any and all of my loose hay that I had, you know, from the previous cut there or whatever. Had to go pick that up and feed it to the cows. So we've been feeding them round bales, so nothing can really fucking do. So it's been an absolute crap year, that's for sure. But still don't have a tractor here, so I'm not moving fucking bales, so we can't push the cows out in the field and yada yada yada. We can't do any of that fucking shit. So, but what are you gonna do? So, and then I had hay in the north garden area. I cut that all the same time I cut, you know, this down here. And well, that started fucking molding because it kept raining all the time when it was down. Kept going over there all the time, you know, or every once in a while anyway. I kind of gave up after a while, but for a while there I was kind of flipping the hay over, trying to get it to dry out, because you would get, you know, 2 days of dry and weather, and we're going to spin out because everything's wet. So that's how that turns out. So I guess we'll just park it here, then tar up the hill again, but I guess it is what it is. But yeah, it's just been it's been an absolute crapshoot. Just not getting anything done. So pretty much everything's at a standstill until, I guess, when I can cut hay again. Tires are just completely maxed. They're just filled with mud because the ramp is still muddy. I mean, what do? You know, you gotta, especially if you're gonna freaking do shit out here, you know. See, this hay is all, like, this grass here, it's all still soaking wet. Obviously, it hadn't dried out much because this is our first day with no fucking rain, because it's been raining every day for the last 3 days. So, and of course, there's no wind. So that helps. But I still want to try to cut a little more hay yet. I have the dike, and I haven't looked at it in, obviously, in quite a few days now, but I think we might be able to get a third cutting off the trail, because I got to cut this regardless. I need to cut it one more time before the year's over with, so just knock down weeds and whatever. But it's looking like it's due for a cut. I mean, there's some areas that are, you know, not quite ready yet, but see, I don't know how to really show you, because like this grass right here, this is where I cut before. It's there, but it's not quite tall enough. It would need another 2 weeks probably to really do anything, you know. I'm still going to cut it. And then this over here I actually did a little bit better. Doesn't look much better, but it is a little better. But there is grass further down in the trail that is much better than this. So what we'll get for tonnage wise out of that, I don't know. But well, I guess we'll see what happens. But I'm probably not going to be cutting for at least a few more days, because this has to dry out now. Because they're saying pretty much a whole week with no rain. Few days of cloudiness, a few days of mostly cloudy, and then there's a few days of full sun, but it's all kind of just, random. But I don't know. It's looking like maybe Monday and Tuesday it could be sunny. I'm going to need probably... This is going to probably take longer than that to dry out, but the dike would probably be done in a couple days. I don't know. I'd rather cut this first because I want to clean the trail out and be done with it. But, see, the sun's coming out right now. You can feel it, and it feels pretty powerful, but there's no wind, so that's what's doing it. But I don't think it's going to be enough, especially when you get deeper in the woods there, because it helps that the leaves are starting to fall off, because you'll get more sunlight and wind in there now, so it will dry out maybe a little bit quicker. But we're getting at the end of the year now, where cutting hay is pretty much going to end. So I don't know what the young guy's doing. I know the last I talked to him, he was still baling and combining. So, and he said probably with a week. In about a week, we could have a tractor. Well, that was almost 2 weeks ago now, so I still don't have a tractor. But that's because now all the rain that we got has pushed him back multiple days. Yeah, I think I could almost cut this again right here too. This is getting to be kind of crazy. Right where that log is, all this. So I know we're trying to get rid of this tree. It broke, but there's a beehive in there, so we had to let that go for now. We're gonna come back in probably a couple of weeks or whatever. Or I don't know. Whenever it starts getting really cold out, and we'll finish that up, because we gotta wait to see if the bees will die off first before we can even do anything with them. I imagine they're still there even now, so yeah. And it's already, I think, 1 o'clock, a little after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and my lawn is still wet. I gotta cut my lawn too, because it grows like a son of a bitch when you get rain, and we've had a little bit of heat too. So, but my lawn it's drying out. But up on the north side of the house there, it's still going to be soaked, but there's nothing I can do with that. I just have to cut it and hope that it cuts it. So there's nothing more I can do. So, but yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, that north garden hay, I managed to take a little bit out of it to top off the loads of hay that I was bringing out of here, because obviously when you come out of here, every time you get up to the yard, the hay has actually kind of settled a little bit. So then I would go into the north garden and pull hay out of there to make it big again, to restack it and to make it bigger, obviously. And it just gives them a little extra more too, right? So, but I guess that wasn't getting enough sunlight on it, wasn't getting enough wind or something, I don't know. And I went to, especially in those big piles, I went to flip them open, and it was just mold. So I had to unfortunately throw that away, because that there was a whole pickup truck load and a half. Probably would have been 2 loads if I hadn't been taking a little bit out of it, to top off other loads. So that's a whole day's worth of hay right there that we lost, which we would have lost it anyway because of this 3-day rain. Whatever I had down here, I had to get rid of it before that rain came on, because that would have just, it was already starting to mold too. But that I was able to, you know, kind of pick through a little bit, get rid of the moldy stuff, and then give them whatever was good. But you could still smell it was getting kind of musty and moldy. So, well, they ate it. They didn't complain about it. So, but I had to get rid of that before the rains come on. My uncle had a bale in the yard from the young guy. That didn't last very fucking long. They destroyed that bale. So he had to come down here in the fields and get a bale. They're eating it, but I don't know. They weren't there when I drove by, so they must have been napping or something, but getting some water maybe. I don't know, but they're going to destroy that bale within a few days too. So I'm kind of hoping. I want to go look at the dike. I probably should look at that first. I want to cut the trail first, but I don't know. That's not going to be ready in I don't think in 3 days. Because you got today, Monday, and then a little bit of Tuesday. I want to cut this stuff Tuesday. This hay doesn't really need any drying time. You know, like it just needs to be cut, raked, and then piled. And then we're just going to start immediately feeding it. But it takes time to do all that, so I don't know. I don't think that bale that's out there now is going to last 3 more days, or at least 4 more days, you know. I don't think it's going to do it. I think it will end up running out before we can even get to it, so, or before we can feed, but, because I don't want to, I don't want to throw this hay out there and they still got a bale, you know. It's like you let them finish the bale off and then let them go a day without food. And then, not really, a day wouldn't hurt them, but, and then start giving them that. And this is almost coming back in. This is coming in kind of nice. But, again, it's not going to be worth another cut. And this is that 12-acre piece. This has got that new grass in there. I'd probably cut it. I'm not going to cut the whole thing. I'd probably cut at least half of this. But again, it needs at least another 2 weeks to grow. And I don't think we're going to get it. It's up there. It's not even it's probably only like 3 inches tall at this point, but it's not going to grow up. If it would grow up to a foot within a week, which it's not going to, especially this time of the year, but if it did do that, then I would come down here and cut it again. Even though there's still bales out here, I could easily cut a large percentage of this, even just what's right here. You could cut that. But the grass it's got mostly just clover in it right now, but it's not going to be enough to cut it, unfortunately. If this would have gotten cut back in July like it should have been, this would have been it would have been easily a foot tall already. Then I wouldn't even be pissing around with all these little fucking things. I could just come down here and snip at this whenever we needed more hay. So that's kind of another reason why I'm kind of hoping, because I think that this is all just clover, but the alfalfa, that wild alfalfa is growing in here now. So I'm kind of hoping that stuff will grow in, at least in this corner, but fill up that corner. And then if we can cut it in July, we should be able to get another cutting off of it by the fall time. As long as there's good rain and decent heat yet, it'll still grow. So sometimes they always say that even second cutting does better than first cutting, but it just depends on what's going on with the weather. So I don't know, but it would definitely be nice to get a second cutting off of this shit, but what are you going to do? But, because all I got left is the trail, which I didn't even know if that was going to be ready or not. I mean, no matter what, I was going to cut it again because the weeds are 2 or 3 feet tall. Because the weeds have no problem growing, and even in the cold, they still grow. So I didn't know if the grass was going to grow up enough, but I think it grew up enough now that we can justify a third cutting, plus cleaning up the trail again. So, but that's going to be it. There is not going to be no more cutting off of that. To even get a third cutting, especially for how late we kind of did cut this, that's actually pretty good. But first cutting did go to waste because the cows didn't need it. But I had nothing. There's nowhere. I can't store my first cutting anywhere. I don't have any buildings to put that in. That would have to be bone dry before you can put it in a building, so it doesn't mold or anything like that. So. But I don't know. So, kind of just is what it is. But we got to definitely change how we do stuff. Because I know that when I talked to the young guy last time there, he said if he had to feed his cows just strictly round bales, he would need 2,000 round bales a year to get him through the year comfortably. So, but he says that he can get away with less bales because he feeds a lot of beet pulp. And I don't know if they give that away for free or if you have to pay something for that. I don't really know. So I've been thinking this may not happen until next year. I don't know. I gotta look, but I'm thinking about maybe getting a small dump trailer. I don't know how big I can go because I got to be able to pull it with the Tahoe. Unless I get a pickup truck. I'm looking at a couple of nice pickup trucks, but they're going to be gone before I can even get them. And the one I'm looking at already has 500,000 miles on it because it's a Dodge Ram 3500. It's a 2012, so it's the same year as the Tahoe, but it's been completely gone through. New engine, new transmission, new pretty much everything. So it's basically like a brand new truck again. So, but the chassis has 500,000 miles on it, which isn't going to be wouldn't really be that big of a deal considering what the hell I'm going to be using it for. But if I'm going to be pulling it with the Tahoe, I'm not going to be able to get a very big dump trailer because I don't want to stress out the Tahoe too much. So, but I'm kind of thinking too, that's what we should do. We should start feeding beet pulp. We did do that one year, but that didn't really turn out all that well just because we had no good place to put it. And where my uncle did put it, he put it right up against the fence. Well, that stuff will freeze down in the winter, so we got to bust it out with the tractor. So then, therefore, he caught the brand new fence that we put in there quite a few years ago. We put a brand new fence there, and he fucked that up because he caught it with the bucket. So, but my theory is just put it in the dump trailer, and then just leave it. If we can order a dump trailer with a tarp, a roll-up tarp, or we'll have to put our own on, whatever, and then just tarp it, just to keep the snow and the rain shit off of it, and then just feed that. And then when we run out of that, then we'll just go get another load. I mean, we can get it from the young guy, or we can get it from the actual beet plant, where they make the stuff. So, there's a few options there, but I really think we need to start getting that involved too. We did do it that one year, but we only did it for really just a couple pickup truck loads, and the cows ate it. They like this stuff, but it's a nightmare when it's frozen. So, but that's kind of my theory, is maybe we need to start doing that as well. Because we're going to have a year where we're not going to get very many bales. Even this year, we're not getting very many bales. And we wouldn't even have to be feeding hay. We could just be feeding them beet pulp right now, because I imagine they're making that stuff right now, because bee harvest just started. Well, it's been going for a few weeks now, but, you know, I don't know if they would have any of that stuff in stock or not right now, the beet pulp. So I think we ought to get back into that again. And at least that will take it easy on the fucking hay then. Because we're going through too much hay, and it's and you know, we can't even get the cattle out in the fucking field because we got bales everywhere. So I mean, what do? I don't know. So, but that's what I'm thinking about. I got to look to see what dump trailers will cost and see what I can find that I can match to the Tahoe. I mean, if I got that Ram 3500, then I can go with a much bigger dump trailer, but I don't need a huge thing. I don't know if I want to walk down here. My boots are going to get all fucking mud. Because you can't walk anywhere without getting mud on everything. So, but I haven't looked at the river in quite a while. So, but yeah, I don't know. Things are going to have to definitely change. This is just getting to be ridiculous. And then I've also been thinking too of, I don't know if it won't happen because it's too early in the year right now, but definitely got to try to get some haying equipment. And there's 2 pieces of haying equipment pretty damn close to home right now that I could be jumping on because they're just that close to home. But you need the money for it. But that would at least give us, you know, like that'll allow us to keep all the hay then for ourselves instead of having to split it with the young guy. Because that's getting kind of old too. I mean, those 131 bales, those could be ours. Because we're probably going to need all that. So, but I don't know. Yeah, the river's down quite a bit. No, I don't know. Can't really see anything because the weeds are in the way, but the weeds are starting to die off now, but they won't fall over anytime soon. So, but I don't know. Things will definitely have got to start changing, that's for sure. So we can take it easy on the hay and whatever. But I don't know, there's just a lot of possibilities there on what we could do. But, you know, I'm the one that's going to be paying for it, and I don't have the cattle to make my money back off of that. I mean, if you went and bought, even if you're able to find a good used dump trailer, which is probably the route I'm going to be going, if I found something that would match up to the Tahoe, okay, you're probably still going to be paying at least probably 10 grand for a trailer, which I think is ridiculous, but I don't know. And then you have to, again, if you're going to use the Tahoe, okay, well, your smaller trailer. If I was able to get a pickup truck, okay, might be able to go up 1 or 2 sizes. But I don't know. Then you gotta, you know, I don't know. Like I said, that Ram 3500 that's going for sale, already has 500,000 miles on it, so she's nowhere near the end of her lifespan yet, but she's, you know, they're only good for, well, I mean, I've seen them up to 1.5 million miles, but that's, I don't know. So, every truck has their problems, you know. You go with a Ford, well, their engines are known to blow up. You go with Ram. Ram's transmissions have been known to blow up. That's why the young guy stopped driving his second gen Ram that he's had that for many years now. Clutch went out. So, and I think the transmission goes out too quite often in that thing. But that's because he works them though too, right? But I don't know. He either works them too hard or it's just a junk transmission. I don't know, but it's still even going on to this day. You know, every truck has their problems. So I just think that with Ford, especially if you wanted to work on the engine, you have to pull the cab off and the whole front end just to get the damn engine out. That's a poor design of an engine. I don't think you have to do that with Ram, or really any trucks for that matter. It's only fucking Ford that's been known to do that, which I think is ridiculous. But what do you do? And that's going to cost big money because that's not something I'm going to do. So I don't know, but yeah, there's a Swather going for sale. They only want $1,500 for it. It's a Versatile 400. Nothing special. It would be enough for us. And if you have a year like this where it's been wet and the hay is tough going, well, I don't think the Swather would be able to do it. You'd be struggling. So the young guy would have to come and do it those years, or until we can get our own upgraded more. But I think for a lot of good years, we could do it ourselves. And then there's a John Deere round baler going for sale. It's not really the baler I want, but I guess you're not going to get what you ever want in life. You know, so they want $7,800 for it. It's a 2000. It's a 2000 baler. So, and it's got 14,000 bales on it. So it's not really all that wore out, but you got to think about it. You know, like if you get a baler with 14,000 bales on it, so what? The most that we'll ever put on that baler is 200 round bales, because I don't think we'll ever get any more ground than this. So, because even buying ground is fucking stupid expensive. You can't do it anymore. This is why all the small time farmers sell out, because they can't do it. They can't buy more land. So then they end up never really ever making money. So they just end up going broker and broker, which is going to probably happen to us too at some point. I don't know. But our land has never really gone up too much. So, but I don't know. It's going to be, I guess, kind of whatever, but we'll just see what happens. But yeah, the time I get the money to buy that stuff will be long gone, because you're still talking technically over a year away yet before I can really even think about anything. And then I have stuff of my own to do too, right? So I gotta try to get Big Red back in the hospital, so I have a functional four-wheeler again. Got to get the 1586 fixed back up and running again. Got to get a couple of new computers, because mine's not going to last forever. I've been having issues with mine for the last year and a half, so I think it's just getting kind of wore out, but I keep pushing it. So got to get a new one of those. Got to get Mother a new one. And yeah, just a lot of other little odds and ends things. Mother thinks I ought to get another Tahoe. Which I don't know. It really just depends on what we can find. Because if I get a newer Tahoe, This one will just become my work truck, so I'm not going to care about it. If it gets beaten up, whatever. You know, this will be my work truck. So yeah, I will pull a trailer with it and whatever. I think I can pull 7,800 pounds with it. So there's a sticker there, but I can't read it. But I think I said that in the book. So it can safely tow 7,800 pounds without, you know, squatting too hard. And plus my suspension is not stock. This is aftermarket, because this is, well, it's Rough Country. I think that's the brand, because that's what cops' cars use. They use the Rough Country suspension on them. I think there was a sticker in the door here that said, where the hell was it now? Yeah, right here. They put a sticker here because you have to. Yeah. Rough Country Suspension Systems. So that's not original. I don't think so. I think this is the... Yeah. This vehicle has been modified with the off-road suspension. There's more information there and whatever. But that's what cops use, because they do off-road sometimes. That's not stock factory suspension. So I don't really know what stock suspension is like on these Tahoes, because I don't have one that's got stock suspension. This one, it's not bad, you know, like it's not, I have no way of comparing it because I don't have another Tahoe with just standard suspension, but this isn't bad, you know, like it's actually pretty good when you're going down the highway. I think if you had newer tires on it, the ride would probably be a little nicer. These tires are probably getting kind of stiff because they're old and they're getting wore down. So that's another thing I got to work on this winter too, is I got to get new tires for the Tahoe. So, and then finish ordering my other engine parts for it. So, never ends. So, but I have to keep this thing running. I have to keep this more maintained than anything else, because this is my main vehicle. This is the only vehicle that I have, and it's important to keep it running, you know. That's why I don't like doing what I'm doing with it now, even though, yes, I like it because it has the cab, you know, with air conditioning and heat. I would either be coming down here, especially when I'm just making stupid videos, you know, I would like to come down here just on Big Red, because then I'm not putting the wear and tear on this. You know, now if I get a newer Tahoe, that's going to be my main vehicle, you know, right? So that'll just be my going on the town rig. This will just become my work truck. Okay, well, then I'm not really going to care that much about coming down here, putting all that wear and tear on it, and coming down here just to make a stupid video, you know, like, it ain't going to matter. So, but Big Red's down, so that's why I want to try to get Big Red fixed up next year, get him 100% again, so we can start cruising him around. And plus we really need him for when we're herding cattle. That doesn't work, so too big and too bulky, and it's hard on my suspension, and it's hard on my transmission. So I don't like doing that. So that's why I want to get Big Red fixed up. Mother thinks I ought to just get a new four-wheeler, but I really can't justify it because they're getting too expensive, and they're not as nice as they used to be. Like, I like mine way better. Mine was way nicer. Now they still have that angry look like mine does. Still has that angry look because they have the headlights on an angle, so it gives it that angry look. They still do that today, but the headlights are much skinnier now. They're much smaller. They're almost more whereas, like, well, that's because they're LEDs now, so they're, you know, they can get away with that now, but it's just like a thin line of lights, you know. Whereas Big Red, it's a full size headlight fixture, you know. But No, and then they changed other things around, and I just didn't really care for it. So, I mean, I guess if I had the money and I was looking for a second four-wheeler, then I probably would, but I don't really need to. Everyone's telling me to get a Polaris, the 570, which is a much smaller machine than Big Red, but still functional. Yeah, it would still be functional for a lot of for what I'm doing with it. Yeah, but they don't use. I don't think they use greasable bushings. They use plastic bushings, which have been known to fail within just a few hundred miles of riding in the suspension. Big Red is all steel, and you have to grease it once or twice a year, depending on what you're doing with it. So if you don't grease it, well, then you just wear out the bushings inside, and then you have slop in your suspension. As far as I know, I don't have slop in my suspension because I've been fairly good with keeping up with the greasing. There was a while there I kind of stopped, but that was just because my grease gun doesn't have a long hose or, grease line, whatever. And I didn't know exactly how to go about greasing that because they don't explain how to do it in the book, because it was just, you're way up in here and you're trying to do this and whatever. It was not right. So I bought a newer grease gun, a much longer hose on it. This one actually runs off 110 volt, so it's powered that way. Okay, the longer hose helped a little bit, but then I found out that if you're going to grease the driver's side, let's say, of the front end, you actually have to go in from the passenger side and snake your line over everything. That's the only way you can get anything to line up, and you're not fighting it. So that's what I learned, that's how you grease it. So you have to go on the opposite side to grease the side that you want to do. So, which I thought was kind of strange, but whatever, it works. That's when I realized, okay, well, it's actually a little easier now doing this. So then I started keeping up with the greasing. The rear end is pretty easy. That's not horrible. So, because it's more open there anyway, but front end's a little more tight and there's more junk in the way, but I don't know. But yeah, so I don't really want another four-wheeler. I don't really need it. If anything, I would like to get a Snowcat now for wintertime riding, but I doubt it. So I don't know. See what happens, I guess. But yeah, 3 days of rain and 3 days of hell, and ain't getting nothing fucking done. So, but I don't know, maybe Tuesday we can come out here and cut more hay. But that's really all that's going to be. The trail and then the dike. That's really all we're going to get out of it. And then we're done. That's it for the year. I shouldn't even be cutting any hay now. I should be done for the year, but it is what it is, though. So, but what do you do? Nothing you really can do. So I just hope next year will be a better year. Probably not. We did pretty good though for hay. Like we got 131 bales, but it's still not enough when you think about it. So whatever. So I don't know. Hopefully, I just think it's time to just get our own haying equipment and try to start doing what we can on our own. That way the young guy doesn't get as much, Well, if we do it, he ain't gonna get none because we're doing all the work. But There might be a year where he's going to have to do it because my mower may not be able to do it, you know, because it's too wet. Even now, it's, you know, it's going to be tough going. But that's why I'm going to give it 3 days or so, and hopefully it can dry out enough to justify, you know, well, at least so then I can cut it and not have to fight with it. So, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. So take it one day at a time and we'll see what happens. So hopefully the young guy will be here sometime next year, I guess, with the tractor. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm kind of getting impatient. I think my uncle could have been done by now. If he was doing this, we could have been done by now. But putting all that wear and tear on his tractor, we didn't really want to do it anymore. But I mean, if the weather's not going to cooperate enough to where we can get another tractor here, we just got to get shit done. So I don't know. We'll just have to try to tough it out, I guess, for another week, I guess. And then if nothing changes in that week, might have to just say fuck it and move on, because we got to move on too. We got to get ready for winter too. So, because I want to get stuff done too, and I got other things I want to do, and I got to try to get it done this week yet too. And yeah, try to take Big Red for his third trip yet. I took him off for a couple of spins. Gonna try to drive him at least 1 or 2 more times yet before the year, just because he's been doing a lot of sitting the last few years because he's been broken. So kind of hoping that maybe, well, I just want to drive him a little bit, stretch his legs, get him used to running again. Plus the engine won't lock up, but you know, I don't want the engine to lock up. Then we're having more issues. So it's easier just to kind of keep him running a little bit, and then that will solve that problem. But what do you do? So, but I guess, guys, I'm going to take off. Just want to let you guys know what was going on. And yeah, lots of rain, and 3 days of rain, and yeah, just a lot of bullshit. So what do you do? So, but yeah, I don't know, I might go up by the dike there, check that grass out. It ain't going to be dried much yet, but if I know how wet it is now, maybe that'll, you know, I'll kind of be able to get a rough idea how many days it'll take to dry out. So it may take a couple, I don't know. Or it may not even dry out at all, I don't know. So nothing we can really do. So, but other than that, I guess that's kind of it. So I guess, guys, I'm going to take off. So I guess I have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.